Welcome back. Money is an awkward topic. Americans think it is more taboo to talk about than their weight or their political or religious views. We looked into why and how bottling up feelings about money can make things worse.
A lot of people would rather talk about the corns on their toes before they could talk about their bank account.
I stay away from that subject because family is family and business is business.
They aren't alone. A new Bankrate survey finds only 38% of U.S. adults say they are comfortable discussing their bank account balance with friends and family. Bankrate's Ted Rossman.
We'd like to see money become a more open part of the conversation.
With so many people feeling the financial squeeze right now, what's your biggest concern about the fact that they don't want to talk about money?
One of the things that happens is sometimes people want to help and they offer too much financial assistance, and then it undermines their own financial security.
Another of Rossman's concerns is that many people have a hard time communicating freely about money with their spouse. That can lead to financial infidelity.
We found that more than 4 in 10 people who are married or otherwise living with a romantic partner have kept or are keeping financial secrets from that person. Secret debt, secret spending, secret bank accounts.
But there is some hope. Over half of Gen Z adults said that they're comfortable talking about money with the people closest to them.
I would say with my Gen Z friend groups, it's not that uncommon to talk about money. With family, it's a little more taboo, but for people my age, I think it's becoming more of the norm.
Those family members are taking notice.
In part because of the generation to follow is asking a lot of great questions about it, and I'm a mother of that generation.
How do you suggest someone starts to ease some of that anxiety that they feel over discussing their finances?
It depends on who we're talking about. If it's your spouse, for instance, maybe set a monthly money date where you talk about bills that are due and other financial goals you want to accomplish in the coming year. If you're really trying to hunker down and pay off your credit card debt, maybe you let that be known to your friend group that you want to cut back on some of the pricier extras for the time being.
In the end, talking about money is not about telling people how much you make, but your relationship to it.
If I can pass on some of my wisdom about money, I'd be more than happy to discuss it in that manner, because money isn't everything. It's like number 5 on the list for a lot of things. Happiness and family is everything.
Rossman says it's important to take the stigma out of discussing money matters, especially with those that we're close to. Talking about your money goals and challenges may lead to helpful advice. If people know that you are sticking to a budget, they'll better understand.